Hey guys, Squatch Reloading here. Today we are going to be working on this Dillon XL750 and we are going to switch this over. Currently it's set up on 45 ACP and it looks like I was running those 45 ACP with those pesky small pistol primers, but we're not going to need to change that over. But what we are going to need is a caliber conversion for 38 Special 357 Magnum. It'll do both of those no problem. And then a die set. I have a Dillon carbide die set. This is the 38 Special 357 die set. And with this load, we're going to be using a 125 grain flat point plated bullet with a cantilure. Now, in this die set comes a taper crimp, and there's a consensus among everyone that a roll crimp is probably better for your hotter Magnum loads, especially 357. Full metal jacket rounds with a cantilure, the roll crimp, you want to get that nice and tight in that cantilure. But for these loads, using a taper crimp, pushing those in the cantilure shouldn't be no problem whatsoever. So that's how we're going to set these up today. But first of all, let's get this press tore down and get the caliber conversion set for 38 Special installed on the machine. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get this FailSafe Rod out of there. Pretty simple, just bring the shell plate up, remove your white clip, and the FailSafe Rod comes right out. Next thing we're going to do is pull our tool holder pins, and we just slide the whole conversion out. Now, if you're using the same tool head for each changeover, if you don't have quick change setups like I do, just skip this process and we'll get right into the die setup. But you know, having these tool heads set up for each caliber makes life simple. Changeovers go really quick. So let's get this put away and we'll get a new tool head installed here. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and disassemble the main components of our caliber conversion, but first, these tool holder pins, I like to just put these back in their respective homes so we don't lose those. But what we're going to have to remove is the shell plate, these brass pins, and then also our case feed adapter right here. So now that I got that halfway up, I got my shell holder halfway up, I'm going to go ahead and remove that. And it's always a good idea just to have your box available so you can start putting these components in there. We're going to remove our brass pins. And then now we're going to need an 1/8 inch Allen wrench. And we're going to index our shell plate up. And then inside here is a small 1/8 inch set screw. We're going to take the long end of our Allen wrench and just go ahead and loosen that up. Don't have to over tighten this. And then we're going to drop the shell plate down and we're going to start removing this main shaft here. Once we get it, we just pull it out. Go ahead and pull our ejector spring out, just like so. Lift up and then remove our shell plate. Now this is also a good time to do any housekeeping right here. Clean up some spent powder, grease, debris. This one looks pretty good right now, so we're just going to go ahead and move forward on tearing down the rest of this caliber conversion. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and get this drop tube removed. Always make sure that your Dillon logo is at the top because these are chamfered and it will cause issues if you have this upside down. That end is not chamfered. So keep that the right direction. So now that we got that removed, we're going to go ahead and remove our case feed adapter, which is the red one for 45 ACP. We're going to go ahead and remove the red insert. And then underneath here is another case feed aluminum adapter that we're going to have to remove. And I'm going to zoom you down here so you can see what I'm talking about. Alright, under here is our aluminum adapter. And this one is now we're going to drop it here. This one is a medium, so that one is for the 45 ACP. So I keep that in with my caliber conversion setup. Alright, the next thing we need to change is our case feeder plate. Right now this is the large pistol plate that's installed. Just going to reach up and remove that, pull out the large pistol, set this aside, and we're going to put in the small pistol plate. in its spot. Again, there's a center pin there, and we're just going to rotate it until we feel it fall into place into the slot on the case feeder. Well, that's pretty dirty. I think that's due for a cleaning. But that's all it takes on the case feeder. All right, now we're going to kind of work backwards where we started. We're going to take our 38 357 aluminum adapter here, and we are going to thread it in from the bottom here. There we go. And again, you just want to get this snug. You can take an 1/8 inch Allen and put it through the holes there and just kind of snug it just a little bit. We're going to need a red adapter here, and then the orange. I got some grease on there. We need the orange case feeder adapter there. Now that we got all of our case feeder adapters installed, we're going to go ahead and install our drop tube. I would just slide it in the bottom first, click it into place, making sure that we got our Dillon logo to the upper portion of the drop tube. All right, now we're going to start working out of our caliber conversion kit with the 38 357 kit. You're going to get a number 2 case slide adapter. It's just going to go in like so with the mouth towards where the cases drop in. So we just want to index our shell plate up so we can just drop this in like so. And now we're going to install the shell plate, and this is a number 2 shell plate. We're just going to set it in so it catches one of the detents on the back side. We're going to install our ejector spring into the hole on the back side. Just let it sit into location, and then we're going to start threading down our main shaft bolt like so. And I'll do this so you guys can see if I can get my pawls in here. And usually what I do is I'll take it down till it bottoms out and then just back it out a skosh and make sure that I can freely index the shell plate and try to mitigate as much of that deflection as you can. You're not going to get it all removed, but just keep making small adjustments so that it moves freely and you're taking out as much of that shell plate slop as possible. That feels pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and index up. I'm going to take my 1/8 inch Allen, catch that set screw like so, and just get it snug like that. So the last thing that we need to do is put in our brass inserts. And these are all number 2 as well. So we'll get those installed. And then we're pretty good. So the next thing we got to do is get a new tool holder put in here, and we'll do that now. All right, we're getting there. We're going to remove these pins again. And I've already had this tool holder set up for 38 special. So I am going to just leave the powder funnel die installed. But you know, installing these are pretty simple, especially if you got multiple calibers you're reloading. Having the multiple tool heads set up already is definitely the way to go in my opinion. But I tore this down so we could show how we set up the dies for 38 special. The last thing in the caliber conversion kit is going to be your powder funnel, and it drops in just like so. So now we need to get a powder funnel on here. So we'll work on that now, and yeah, we're moving along pretty good. So we have our powder measure here. We're going to go ahead and install that. It's going to slide right over top of the powder die. Make sure that we have our retaining bolts loose enough where this will slide into place. Those are 5/32 bolts. Going to slide our clamp in, and I'm just going to finger tight these for now. I do want it to still be able to move back and forth in case we need to make any adjustments to our powder funnel depth, but we shouldn't because this one's already set up. But now we want to take our FailSafe rod, and if we look at our FailSafe rod, there is a loop on the end of it, and we want to make sure that we catch the slotted hole and then the through hole, and it goes in just like this. So we want to make sure that we hook through both of these tabs. Now, the next thing we want to do is set up our FailSafe rod. We want to make sure that we loosen up this wing nut on the back side because it does vary from setup to setup. The height of your powder funnel will determine the tension that needs to be on this spring. So we're going to go ahead and pull back on our handle, get our shell plate up, install the white clip, and then we're going to want to set this as parallel as possible, but taking note not to be rubbing on if you got a primer sensor on there. We just want to get it as perpendicular or parallel with the primer magazine as possible. And then what I like to do is push forward and then tighten this wing nut up. And you want about, Dillon says, a business card's width between the tips of the spring coils. I'm just going to get it close. It looks good enough to me. I'm not going to check it. But now our FailSafe rod is set up and we're ready to start putting some dies in and so forth. Okay, that wasn't too bad. We got everything tore off this Dillon XL750. We removed all of the 45 ACP caliber conversion, including the large pistol plate at the top of our case feeder. We got everything installed for 38 special, and now we're ready to start setting dies, and that's what we're going to be doing next. If you guys have any questions, feel free to hit me up on my email, squatchreloading@gmail.com. You can also find me over at Facebook and Instagram at Squatch Reloading. If you like these videos, if you like our content, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, share, comment, whatever. But until next time, guys, God bless.